Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bible class. We are here studying the Sermon on the Mount, and today we're going to look at just one verse. We're going to look at Matthew chapter 7, verse 12. So let me share the screen, and let's read. Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. So we have here in the heading, of course, identifies this as the golden rule. Do unto others what you want them to do unto you. Get my chair fixed here. Do unto others what you want them to do to you. So all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Now, first of all, how is it the law and the prophets? Because it doesn't say this exactly in the law and the prophets, and you can look at some of these cross references here. Let me throw this over here. Some of the cross references: learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow, come now and let us reason. So that doesn't say do the way you want to be treated, treat others. Or Jeremiah: or if you thoroughly amend your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute just judgment between a man and his neighbor, if you oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, shed not innocent blood in his place, neither walk after other gods to your hurt. So once again, it mentions the fatherless and the widow, and that's actually, we'll get to talking about that in just a little. I just want to look at a couple more of these. He hath not oppressed any, but is restored to the debtor his pledge, hath spoiled none by violence, hath given his bread to the hungry, and hath covered the naked with a garment. He that hath not given forth upon usury, neither hath taken any increase. He that hath withdrawn his hand from iniquity, hath executed true judgment between man and man. All right, so basically a righteous person. So these cross references, and sometimes you have to be careful with cross references because they don't give you something exact, but I think the idea is, the idea of anything you want somebody to do, you do it to them. I think it's best encapsulated in this one here, Leviticus 19:18. And Jesus, of course, remember when he was asked, what's the greatest command? And he responded, love God. That's the first command. Second one is love your neighbor as yourself. This is found in Leviticus 19:18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. So the as thyself there is what's important, because just saying love your neighbor, well, that's fine, but love your neighbor as yourself, it's essentially another way of saying the way you want to be treated, you treat your neighbor, right? Now there are some, you think about how we want to do this. Well, think about how we want to do this. Loving your neighbor, or how do we want other people to treat us? Well, there's of course there's the positive and the negative. So don't treat people badly, right? All things that you want men to do to you, you do to them. So don't treat people badly, but he doesn't say all things that you don't want men to do to you, don't do to other people. This is a more proactive thing. The way that you want people to treat you, treat other people. And the distinction there means that we can't just not do things for people. We can't just say, yeah, I'm not going to treat people wrongly. So we have these these cross references here, and don't oppress the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow. Don't walk, so a bunch of things that you're not supposed to do. Whereas in Isaiah, instead of saying don't oppress, look what it says: relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. So Ezekiel gives, or Jeremiah rather, gives the negative: don't oppress the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow. But that's not what the golden rule is all about, right? Do unto others what you want them to do unto you. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. So there's a positive thing in here. Seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. This, of course, is found in James chapter 1. That's not a cross-reference. James 1, we go over here to verse 27, and it says, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. All right, visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction. That's a positive thing, right? Treat people that are going through difficulty. Go and help them. This is the goal. This is the golden rule. Find people that need help. Find people that need something good done for them, and do it. We have a great story of this that Jesus tells about a Samaritan, and it's in response to someone asking him, Master, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? What's written in the law, he asks. And he answering said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. So Jesus said, love thy neighbor. He said, oh, I need to go back here. Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do even so, for this is the law and the prophets. So love your neighbor as yourself is the golden rule. It's part of the golden rule, and this man knows it. He knows this is how we're supposed to act. Love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus says, yeah, good job. But he, willing to justify himself, said to Jesus, and who is my neighbor? Whom shall I love? Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho, fell among thieves, stripped him of his raiment, wounded him, departed, leaving him half dead. And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So he did nothing, right? He left the man to die with his wounds. You might say, well, he's a priest. He needs to avoid people who are dead in order to fulfill his priestly function. So he was thinking more about ritual purity than the other person. Sure, but he was kind of a dirtbag. Likewise, a Levite, he was at that place, came, looked on him, passed by on the other side. Oh man, this guy's in a bad way. I'm not going to get involved. Once again, kind of a terrible person. But a certain Samaritan, and it's important in this story because, hey, Jews hate Samaritans. But here's a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was. When he saw him, had compassion, went to him, bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, set him on his own beast, and brought him to an inn, took care of him. On the morrow, when he departed, he took 2 pence, gave them to the host, and said to him, take care of him. Whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will repay thee. Which now of these thinkest thou was neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? And he said, he that showed mercy on him. Notice the Jewish man asking didn't say the Samaritan. I don't know if that means he couldn't say it or just, that's just how he answered. I don't want to read intent into that, but it is interesting that he didn't just say the Samaritan. Jesus said to him, go and do thou likewise. What do I need to do to inherit eternal life? Well, we need to go around looking for people who've been beaten and left for dead so that we can do something kind for them. And I say that kind of as a joke, but not really, because we should be looking for opportunities to help people. And there are always going to be opportunities. The golden rule isn't just about, Yeah, I'm going to be cordial to somebody. The golden rule is about finding people who are in need and helping them. Why? Because, well, we would want them to help us. We would want them to do that for us. So we go back. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to? Oh, yeah. I wanted to go here first. So this is the final judgment. And again, this is a similar idea, the golden rule, right? When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, all the holy angels with him, then he shall sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. He shall say to the sheep, or he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on his left. Then the king shall say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. And here's the verse I wanted. I left it highlighted. For I was hungry, and you gave me meat or food. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you took me in. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and ye came to me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see thee hungry and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When did we see thee a stranger and take thee in, or naked and clothe thee? When did we see thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of these my brethren, you have done it unto me. This is the golden rule in action. Find somebody who has a need. Find someone who is sick, someone who is in prison, someone who is a stranger that is away from their home, somebody who is hungry, somebody who is thirsty, and help them. Help them with their physical problems, their physical issues. This is what Jesus says. He says, Come ye blessed of my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. Why? Because you did all of these things. You searched out people to help, and you did that. This is what the golden rule truly means. So let's go back. I know I spent a lot of time in other passages, but let's go back to Matthew chapter 7. Therefore, all things whatsoever you would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them, for this is the law and the prophets. Thank you so much for it's a little bit shorter of a Bible class than normal, but we did only do one verse, so I guess there's that. Next time we'll do two verses, Matthew 7:13 and 14. So we'll have a little bit more text. I don't know if it'll take longer, but we'll talk about the straight or difficult gate and the wide gate. We'll talk about the broad way, which leads to destruction, and the narrow way, which leads to life, and why it's better to take the difficult, narrow way instead of the easy, broad way. Thank you so much for studying the Sermon on the Mount with me, and I hope you're gaining something from it. I know I am. I hope you continue to remain blessed.